Hi, marry me. So I want to review a book, and the book I want to review is this one, Incense Magick. Create inspiring aromatic experiences for your craft by Carl F. Neal. And basically what this is, it's a book that tells you how to create your own incense. And let me say that this book has everything. I have never used a lot of incense in my craft because when I first started practicing, I was living at home with my mother, and my mother is allergic to most forms of incense. So generally, I use uh, aromatherapy oils, essential oils. Is that the English word? I think it is. I use essential oils, which I then just burned in those oil lamps, and I use that when doing rituals instead of incense. So really the only type of incense I have used before I got this book were basically um, were basically those sticks that you light and put in things, and I also sometimes bought the sage tea and burned that as a way to cleanse the house. Other than that, no real experience with incense, and this book helped told me everything I need to know to mix ingredients and make my own incense. So even if you have zero knowledge of incense, this will tell you. It tells you everything from how to control how hot your mixture gets, basically controlling the heat and burn of it, to ethical considerations with what materials to use, and so on and so forth. It's a very thorough book, and as you see, it's a fairly in-depth book. I know I at least, and quite a few others in the craft, have at times been asking for books that's more in-depth on various forms of topics within witchcraft, because while they are interesting to read, and it's always interesting to hear another author's opinions on magic and the craft in general, there are so many of those beginning magic books that, and there's so few things books that takes you a step further. But this book really, while it's definitely a beginner's book to using incense, this entire book is about incense in magic, while it might be a small chapter in one of those other books. So it gives you opportunity to get into depth with that topic. So, what else about the book? Is it well written? Yes, it's well written. It's a little bit dry. It feels very much like a scholarly work and reads like it too. So, uh, it can be a little bit boring to read. I mean, we are not talking dry like uh, um, end of the 1800s work on ritual magic here. I'm not saying that they're bad to read. They have a lot of information, but they do tend to get dry. But still pretty dry. But other than that, I have no complaints. So let's see what this book contains. It has an index. It has acknowledgments and an introduction, like most books do. Then you have part one, all about incense. This chapter basically tells you history of incense, uh, basically everything that you need to and want to know about incense is in this chapter. And it has cultural adoptions of incense, synthetic versus natural incense concerns, ethical concerns. Then you have scent, which basically speaks about, well, exactly what it says on the tin. Scents and how it affects us, all of those aspects. It has the despised sense, the physiology of scent, the language of scent, the psychology of scent, and the magic of scent. Then we have chapter 3, which is incense ingredients, which again is exactly what it says on the tin. And it has aromatics, endangered and rare ingredients, and it doesn't want to cooperate, still works. And then we have 4, which is selecting incense, which has quality, which is basically how you should select your ingredients and so on. Quality, homemade, rare incense pleasure, price, and in the package scent. Excuse me. Then you have sensors and holders, which is also what it says on the tin. We have materials, size, styles, fill material, heat source, and preparing a charcoal scissors. Then we have 6 other techniques, which is incense sweeping, air mixing, and outdoor incense use. So basically it is pretty thorough. And that was part 1, all about incense. And then we have part 2, non-combustible incense, which has chapter 7, using non-combustible incense. So we have types of non-combustible incense, preparing the material, controlling burn and heat, like I said, extinguishing charcoal, storing non-combustible incense, and charcoal. Then we have chapter 8, magical applications of non-combustible incense, standard for most ceremonial magic, adding incense during ritual, storing incense materials on your altar, and rituals. Then you have chapter 9, Asian style incense burning. We have critical elements of Asian style burning, preparing the censer, listening to incense, study rituals and games, and adapting to Western magic. We have part 3, combustible incense. We have chapter 10, overview of combustible incense, advantages, disadvantages, and forms. Using combustible incense. Like I said, all the chapters here basically is exactly what they say on the tin. Smudging, sticks, cones, cylinders, and dupes, powder. And chapter 12, shading combustible incense. Yastic to yastic, mansala to mansala, cone to cone, combination and chaining rituals. We have conclusion, appendixes and correspondences, elements, seasons, specific purposes, and aromatic chart, which can be useful when you're making your incense, bibliography, and index. So basically, yeah, if you at any point basically have said, I want to do more with incense in my rituals. I want to do more than just picking out an incense that seems to fit with the correspondences, lighting that sticks, sticking it in a holder or a cone for that matter. That's it. This will tell you a lot of history of incense, how to make incense yourself, how to apply incense to your rituals, to tell you incense used in various parts of the world. It will basically give you a vast area of basically a vast platform of knowledge when it comes to incense as used in magic. So, do I think this book is absolutely necessary for practice? No, of course you don't need it, but I do think this is one of the books that will enhance your practice and that I can wholeheartedly recommend. I think it's a book that really will add to your practice because it brings into focus the element of incense, how to use it, how to make it yourself, how to apply it to ritual, how to do blessings with it, all of those things which can benefit your practice enormously. So, yeah, the only real flaw I will say about this book is it's a little bit wryly written, but since it is a scholarly work, basically, I would say it will get a pass on that. I'll give this book 9 out of 10. It's a very good book, and I do really recommend it. And yeah, so let me see how big it is because I just have the habit of doing that. 280 pages including the index. And the index is pretty good. This book is easy to navigate. So yeah, that's my review of Incense Magick by Carl F. Neal. It's published by Llewellyn, I think. Yes, it's Llewellyn. And yeah, if you want to do more with incense, this is definitely a book to pick up. I hope you have enjoyed this review. Have a great day, and blessed be.